Hi, welcome to ACS Composite. My name is Joseph, and today we're looking at a C8 2020 Corvette. One of the most important styling cues, or the most sought after aftermarket part for the C8, is the side rocker. It's got the signature 5VM winglet. And today that's what we're looking at. So basically it's a winglet used as a rear wheel deflector, an aero piece, but mostly a cosmetic piece. So we actually thought that was a really nice styling cue. So what we've done, we've designed our own winglet. So this is it. So this winglet mounts to the vehicle from the underside. But what we've done, we've actually reproportioned it and completely redesigned it, because this is actually for a C7 Corvette. The winglet itself is manufactured in our signature PC Composite. So it's very rigid, very durable, heat resistant, and even scrape resistant. It's got all the provision to get mounted to the car without any modifications. So what it does, it sits on the vehicle like this, using all the OEM mounting points. So we're actually going to go over to the C7 and I'll walk through the installation and the specific details of it, of how this was adapted for a C7 Corvette. We're getting ready to install our winglet. The installation's fairly simple. What we have is the two OEM fastening points, which is a 7mm screw, and we also have 3 split rivets that we'll be installing. These are common with our Z07 rockers and also common with the Z07 rockers from the OEM track package. So step 1 is to remove the fasteners off the car. Screws are fairly simple. Remove. We do supply you new screws which are longer, since we are encapsulating the winglet, the rocker, and the OEM rocker. So obviously we need more depth. Secondly, we're removing the rivets that are holding the side rocker to the rocker panel. These are aluminum split rivets, so they disintegrate fairly easy. To do this, you need a 3/16 drill bit. You center it onto the rivet head. You apply pressure. I keep the drill on a low motor speed. And there you have it. We now have the aluminum shavings. For this, you could remove the wheel liner to have access to them, or you could bend and try to pry them out with some blown air or compressed air. We're going to clean the surface and trial fit our winglet. So we're ready to position the winglet onto the car, and basically it references the back. About 1/4 inch is left, and the holes do match. So I'm reinstalling the 7mm screw. We actually supply you longer T15s. There's a unit inside which slides, so it gives you the adjustability you may need. I tightened it just to get a first visual. I will be loosening it simply because I want to ensure that the holes on my winglet, the holes on the rocker, and the car's panel match. So I don't want to drill extra holes. If you do have other aftermarket rockers, you may have to, but if you do have the ACS PC version and the OEM Z07, you should be able to reline them up. I'm going to slightly loosen them up. I loosened up my 2 screws, and this is really so that I could get a little bit of play with the winglet itself. I do know it's got a favor all the way back. The features match, so basically the provision for the jacking puck and the panel, everything has to line up, and generally this is by pushing rearward. That's why those 2 little U-nuts that are located behind here are important. They're letting us play and get that adjustability we want. I'm using the drill, but again, simply to use it as a guide to verify that I'm lined up. I'm setting my new long split rivets on a rivet gun. just so I get better leverage and control as I slide it in. There we go. I'm not going to crimp it yet because I want to keep as much adjustability as I may need to get those 3 holes. Second one. I'm crimping my second one. These are long rivets, so there's a lot of pull on it. If you're using a manual rivet gun, you're probably going to be crimping it 4 to 6 times. And finally, the last pull, breaking the nail. Perfect. Finally, I'm going to tighten my 2 screws since I'm done with the rivets. And that's it. The installation is complete. And there we have it. We have our winglet installed on our C7 Z06. At a first glance, we'll notice it is very different than the C8. So clearly the inspiration came from there, but the proportions have been completely changed. Main reason being the C8 is a mid-engine car. C7 has a front engine, so the proportions between the door and the wheel are much smaller. For that reason, we shortened the winglet down. We also narrowed it down because we really wanted to enhance the brake cooling duct that's situated right here. So we're using this styling cue here to become tangent with the top of the winglet. This is really giving us a clean look, and it's really dressing up that side rocker panel in the rear. On this car, we have our new rear quarter extension. So this was part of the whole system as parts were being designed to complement each other. So they do work together. You could do either or and both. And if you do have a Stingray, then obviously you don't have the scoop. It still dresses up really nicely. And if you do want to add the scoop, we have a Z06 scoop conversion available for the Stingray. But basically you build it as you like it. A complete family of components, from your winglet to potentially a Stingray scoop to the rear quarter extension. Everything is designed to work together or individually. So basically we're here to assist you to build the Corvette you envision, one piece at a time.